Hello all. Today we are looking at the journey of Andhra Pradesh from NFHS round 4 to NFHS round 5 as far as the child malnutrition is concerned. Andhra Pradesh overall has seen a marginal reduction in the levels of malnutrition except levels of severe stunting. If you look at the mortality levels, they have reduced significantly in the age segments of neonatal, infant mortality and under 5 mortality. But urban Andhra has surprisingly seen an increase. This should be a matter of concern. On the anemia front, the situation has shown some worsening, though the state has bucked the trend, national trend we would say, in terms of the sharp increase in anemia levels, whether it is among children or among women. And like most other states, there is a variation in performance between the eastern and the western half. So it is important to map this journey to stress the need for a decentralized planning within a state. And like other analyses, we have used here the NFHS4.indiagis.org and we have also used NFHS5.indiagis.org. So it's a user-friendly website. Other viewers can go there, do their own analysis in respect of various other parameters. Let's take an overview. If you look at malnutrition, you would notice that Andhra in stunting is more or less same. Wasting, there's a marginal reduction. Underweight, there's a marginal reduction. And worryingly, severe wasting has marginally gone up. That's something which should be a matter of worry. One would have expected Andhra to bring down severe wasting as well. But that hasn't happened. If you look at underweight, we see considerable gains across the state, except in Anandpur and Kurnool. And if you look at the data range, it has reduced at the lower end from 27% children being underweight to 20.6, which is good. But on the higher end, it has moved from 39 to 46. Now, this is something which the state need to worry about. If we look at stunting, the NFHS cutoff has reduced by 2 points. If we reduce the NFHS cutoff by 2 points, it yields nearly identical maps. What does it mean? That there are marginal gains across the state. But here we notice that the southwestern cluster, the red cluster that you are seeing over there, it needs attention. If you look at the data range, it's reduced at the lower end, but again at the upper end, from 44 it has gone to 50. The similar thing has happened in the underweight, so state needs to worry about it. Let's come to how the story unfolds in the wasting. We see considerable gains across the state. So you see the yellow, the red bands becoming yellow or the yellow becoming green. This has happened across most of the state. But the 3 eastern districts and Anandpur at the other end, this has not happened. The data range has reduced sharply. Now from 14.7 at the lower end, it has come down to 8.7. That's considerable. And from 20.7, it has marginally reduced. But that's really marginal. The worry actually comes when we look at severe wasting. And here, again, we notice a similar picture. The eastern fringe has shown a worsening. If you look at the data range, going from 1.5, which was really creditable in NFHS 4, it has gone to 3.3. Marginal, yes, but 3.3 by itself may not be considered to be too bad. But here we are comparing Andhra with Andhra itself and not with any other state. And the top end, 9.8, has remained more or less stagnant. Let's look at child mortality. Andhra has seen a reduction. In neonatal mortality, there is a reduction. Infant mortality rate, there is a reduction. And in under 5 mortality, also there is a reduction. This reduction is quite sizable in rural Andhra. So from 40, if the IMR comes to 30.4, is creditable. But then the spoiler has been the urban segment, where the IMR has moved from 20 to 29.8. Now that's something which doesn't augur well. Likewise, the under 5 mortality also in the urban segment has moved from 29 to 33.7. So this is one area that state needs to be clear about. And the reduction in neonatal mortality is also rather modest. I think that has to be probably reduced more aggressively. Anemia story, 6 to 59 months old children, we see a worsening across the state, except in the western tip and the eastern tip. There, in fact, we see an improvement. Look at the data range from 46.6 going up to 54.9, that has gone up, but the upper end has remained more or less same. This is where we say it has bucked the national trend. Women in the 15 to 19 year age group, what has happened? We see a mixed picture. So the data range, very interestingly, has reduced at the lower end as well as at the upper end. This is again bucking the national trend. So one has to figure out what has Andhra done. But otherwise, if you see quite similar picture, all women in the 15 to 49 age group, we here in fact see considerable gains across the eastern half. The data range has gone down, 45.6 to 80.6 has been the range. Upper end has come down from 80.6 to 64. Now, that is something which is creditable because issues have been raised about the plausibility of the NFHS 5 data. As far as anemia measurement is concerned, one is not saying it across the board. So there, if Andhra Pradesh has shown this kind of a reversal, I think that's really creditable. We also tried to look at a district or two from Andhra which hold the promise of matching the WHO standard. I think viewers would recall, if they have seen the other videos, that this green bell-shaped curve is essentially what can be called the standard reference curve. WHO has estimated this based on a representative population. And the red bell curve, which is towards the left of it, we see that in wasting, it comes fairly close to the green curve, but not enough. Stunting, it's quite away from the green bell curve, and so is the case of underweight. But Prakasham and East Godavari are within Andhra the best performers. So we need to really figure out, can Andhra reduce the levels of wasting and stunting in these districts at a can they fast track it? Particularly this small area which is on the color coded as yellow and red, particularly, if that is made to disappear, I think that's the first milestone, one could say. Then again, East Godavari, it does hold a promise. When we look at the wasting figures, it could probably match it. So how does the story overall unfold? Andhra has seen marginal reduction in levels of malnutrition. The mortality levels have reduced. Neonatal, infant and under 5 mortality. Rural Andhra has credited itself very well. Urban Andhra has seen an increase in the mortality levels. This is something which the state would need to pay attention. Anemia front, we have said this, that the Andhra has bucked the national trend. Some worsening has been noticed, of course. And Prakasham and East Godavari districts are close to this goalpost of matching the WHO reference curve. Can the state achieve this by the NFHS 6 and set an example? I think time will tell. We leave the readers with this thought and we move on to our other analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.